Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You've hit the spot. The place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Put your thinking caps on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. This is your spot, the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests, there she is, are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Today we're traveling to Canada. We are going to talk about business plans, grant writing. What does that look like in today's environment? Because it's tough here in the United States. You know, folks are trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, and the highway is already flooded with people that already have committed to certain organizations, long-term endowments, government funding. So Kathy's going to give us some strategies. So I'm hoping that all you nonprofit organizations tune in and listen to this. We have Kathi Wehage, okay? And she's going to talk about business planning strategies here on the Edge. Welcome. How are you, Kathi?
Thank you, April. Looking forward to our chat today. I'm wonderful. And I wanted to begin, if it's okay with you, I want to begin our conversation today about my journey. What led me into becoming an entrepreneur?
All right, well, let's see. Go ahead, baby. Drive the car. What led you to being an entrepreneur?
Okay, so this goes back a few years. I found myself in my late 20s. I found myself divorced, a single mom, and broke. I needed a better job. But what? So what I did, April, I decided I'd sit with it for a bit, and I went to visit my sister and family who had recently moved from Eastern Canada onto the prairies to a smaller community. And her and I sat at her kitchen table one morning chatting, and she said, "What are you going to do for a job?" And I said, "I don't know." And I said, "I haven't thought about it yet." And she said, "Well, we're both so creative." And we had spoken about if we ever lived close enough to each other again, let's open up a store. So I said, "Oh, I hadn't even thought of that." So we chatted about what that could look like. And then I left and I came back to Vancouver. And I sat with this new vision for a few weeks. And I really went inside myself and thought, what could this look like? What doors would this open up for me? So after a few weeks, I phoned my sister and I said, "Let's do it."
So what type of store did you open?
So we opened a specialty gift shop, which in the early 80s was great because our audience were the farmers' wives that had to drive to the big city to buy those beautiful gifts when they had a family party or anything going on. So this was good, but then we faced our first recession. Stores were closing all around us. Now, bear in mind, we had a strong passion for serving, but we had no business sense. What do you do when you face a recession?
Right. Well, I mean, because you started out really, I say this, or I think this, as a jobby hobby. You want to see if you like it. You want to see if you invest in it. You want to see if people invest in you.
Yeah.
It's taking the inventory. You got to put that out front money. The brick and mortar, everybody's online now. So all of the dynamics of that change. How did that get you into where you are now and what you're doing?
Good question, April. Because when that first recession hit Alberta, the government put out a for small businesses, they put out a 6-month business planning course. Well, that was the start of me writing a business plan. I loved it. I wrote my first business plan then. We survived the recession, and 8 years later, we sold our store for a profit. So that was such a good feeling.
Well, it takes skill and talent to write a business plan, because I'm going to tell you, Brains, I've been using Chat AI. I'm sorry. Yes, I have. I have. But it's a lot of moving parts. I
Yes.
can do it, but do I want to do it? No. So me, I hire where I'm weak. Okay. What are three or four key components in writing a dynamite business plan?
Okay. So what I found, April, is my clients wanted to see an affordable, easy business plan. So when I decided that I was going to start writing business plans, I surrounded myself with all my notes, the courses I had taken, and I looked at everything. And I compiled an easy 7-module business planning course with a guidebook that could guide my clients, that could guide them on this journey of writing their own.
So, Kathi, just to be clear, you are not the actual grant writer. What you are is, would you say, a coach or a teacher or an instructor, educator? What would that look like with regards to what you do and how you work with people?
Thank you, April. I call myself a business planning strategist because a lot of the grant writers usually want to see the business plan. They want to know that this person is sustainable. So I give them all the pieces they need to take to the grant writer.
Okay. All right. And then after they put all the pieces together, then they can go ahead and submit the grant.
That's right.
Okay. Now, on a personal level, I'm trying to get a grant here to do some modification on this street that went ham and went rogue. And so I'm trying to get some government funding. Different things look for different things. How would a person maybe research that? Okay.
Okay. I'll give you a couple of tips here because what I found, it depends if it's federal or state, because they want to see sustainability. Federal wants to see, can you increase the economy? If it's state or for us, if it's province based, what they want to see, are you providing some service that is going to solve a problem that's in the community? Are you going to strengthen the community? Could you create jobs? If you can show that kind of sustainability, usually you've got a good chance of landing one of the grants.
Okay. All right. Well, good. We're going to definitely do our homework on that. Thank you, Kathi.
April, I would like to say, for any brains that you have out there, if you're looking at writing a business plan, I want you to, first of all, consider anchoring down in your vision. That to me is the first key component. What is that burning desire inside of you? What do you want to create? What is there that is just waking you up at night because you want to share it with somebody in the morning?
And then what's the second?
And then the second would be gaining some clarity on your mission, how you're going to deliver this vision, and your strategies. Strategies are what take you through sustainability. And this is the first piece to becoming grant ready. When you want to become grant ready, you got to be very, very strong that you can outlive, that this business you're creating will outlive that grant money.
Wow. Well, that's hard for nonprofits, because what happens, or what I've seen, and I've worked for the world's best, believe me, they're not self-sustainable. I worked for the Red Cross. I love to tell this story. I worked for the Red Cross during Hurricane Katrina. So I took on the permanent job of being the outreach coordinator. They didn't know I could sell and I could close a deal. I went to the water department. I came back and I told them we need 500 backpacks because everyone here needs a disaster backpack. They were like, wow. Fundraising, you have to be able to churn and burn. I work with another organization, Homeboys, Homegirls. They make condiments that are in uh, grocery stores. And I work with another nonprofit that we worked together and got them a lipstick and a nail polish at MAC. So I say all of that to say this is that you need to, again, know your business, know what you want long term, but also have a key element built in there so that your funder will say, hey, you know what? This person is also trying to bring in some revenue outside of that. Now, do you work with nonprofit, small business, women-owned business, minority-owned business? Who is your niche market?
I'm really glad that you mentioned this because when I switched to online, my very first client was Wendy Huffman from Let's Make the Difference. She has a nonprofit for Africa. Well, the Africans stole my heart because I loved their tenacity, their resilience, and I am now on Wendy's board to support the Africans in any way I can to give them business strategies, tips, tools. And we funded one of the fellows in Africa that he actually was a school teacher and he had been laid off, had no way of supporting his family to make ends meet. And I offered to work with him at no charge to walk him through a 12-week course that I was offering back in those days, several years ago. And I worked with him and got him so clear on his vision that within 12 hours in Canada, I found him a sponsor that would lend him a micro lender that would lend him the money. And now Vincent is running his own business, supporting his family, and helping other Africans.
And you had a hand in that. Well, that is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what do you say to the woman that has been, I'll give you a great scenario, been baking in her home? She doesn't necessarily want to go to a brick and mortar, but she wants to be able to make this a bona fide business. What would be some strategies that you could tell her? Just a couple that she might be able to put in place.
Oh, you get my head going because I love that. The first thing I'd say to her is, what is your passion in baking? What could you teach others? What is the missing piece? You've got to know what is the weakness in this market. Like, what are you seeing with friends, with other bakers, with when you go into a bake shop that you love? What do you love about it, and what do you find weak with them? You should want to consider becoming the strength in that link, in that weak or broken link in the marketplace. Okay. I say there's a lot of brains out there, and I see that you're attracting them, and there's a lot of skilled people.
There's a lot of skilled people, but then, there's a lot of opportunities that we could share with her too. Maybe she wants to do a cookbook. Maybe she wants to do an online subscription service. Maybe she wants to do, like my daughter does it, Patreon, where they watch you cook. So there's a lot of things that she could do outside of just selling her cupcakes. And I say that to say this, that I worked with one of my guests. I only coach 5 people a year. And she was one of my coaches. She was one of my coachees. And let me tell you, she was selling cupcakes out the back of her house. When I finished with her, 5 hours, her business went up 300%. Because it's like people like you and I that have an eagle eye view. See, I can only work with people comfortably that are already there. I'm not that cradle to grave service. You've already got to have some skin in the game. You know what I mean? I want to know that you're dedicated. I want to know that you're serious. I don't want to change you. I just want to enhance you and modify you. And then work with someone like you after you've been enhanced and modified. Then they springboard to coaching and working with you, where you can kind of teach them a strategy. Okay, this is what you need to have a successful business. You need to pay your taxes. All these wonderful things that come along with entrepreneurial shit. But a lot of people get enamored with that entrepreneur. It's a big
They
$25
do.
word, and it's all right to be a W-2, what we call a W-2 employee. You go in, you work, you get your benefits,
Yeah.
you get your check, you go home. The liability is not on you. So you have to have a right mindset. Wouldn't you agree, Kathi, also? Isn't that a great contributor to success? Is your mindset?
Absolutely. The mindset is number one. You've got to have that mindset of being a winner, of having confidence in yourself. What have you done in your life? What are you confident? What are you proud about? So it's all those pieces that go into, it's like I was saying a bit earlier, April, it's all those pieces that go into having a clear, powerful, and strong vision, because that vision is what's going to be your foundation. And that is going to carry you through those hard times in business.
Right. That and a nice savings account. You got to save, brains. You people use these entrepreneurial little side gigs as like a personal slush fund. But you have to understand that all of these cash apps, PayPal, Venmo, they have to report to the IRS where that money comes from and what it goes through. So you need to be able to structure it. And if you do it right, it can be to your benefit, right, Kathi? Because then you got a bona fide tax write-off. But if you're sitting here
Right.
hobbying, you're going to get yourself in a world of trouble, right?
And April, when you mentioned this woman, Baker, it made me think too of the community that I'm growing right now, small business planning community of members. And she could do a baking community. They could have fun. They could be on Zoom. They could do some recipes, some baking together, share.
Merchandise. I'm a marketing guru, so I know. Yeah, there's so many, a cookbook. There's so many things that people want because, again, healthy options, vegan options. The world is her oyster. Well, let me tell you, she started selling those cupcakes because it was consistency with her brand and her look. She was all over the place. She had 4 different fonts and different colors. Nothing was cohesive on her website anymore. No landing page. And another thing, people don't grab the low-hanging fruit. It's your leads. It's the relationship that you build with people. It's the relationship that is the capital. That's really the big investment. That's the big why and the winner.
And that starts with conversation.
Yep.
Let's have a chat about what you need and how I could help or assist you in that. And I'd like to share something I've discovered, April. I've discovered 2 things with writing a business plan. Like I say, the first thing I discovered was clients, especially when they're new entrepreneurs, they don't have the money and they don't have the skill set. So they need both. They need the money and the skill set. And it's like putting the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse.
You're driving it no matter what.
I had it backwards there. I had it backwards.
That's
so
cute.
this is what I would really like to encourage any of brains that are listening to this, is that don't be a lone wolf on this landscape. I tell you, I learned that the hard way. When I started my online business, I made a lot of costly mistakes until I learned that I needed some expert support here. So wherever you are in your business, if you just have an idea, if you're just beginning, see who you can hire as a guide. Can you afford a coach? On what level? Just to take you to the next step.
Right.
You will save a lot of
that's
money.
already there, and a cheerleader.
That's right.
Somebody that's going to keep you on track and keep you motivated. See, that's what I said. That's why I only teach 5 people a year. And you know what? I only coach for about 5 to 10 hours. That's it. If you need to come back for some maintenance, that's fine. But that's why we're in the middle. I don't start from the beginning, because that way you can appreciate it. And I know that you're going to follow through. Let's ask some fun questions about Kathi Wehage.
Okay. Oh, no.
You don't know what I'm going to ask you. If you were a sports car, what car would you be?
Oh, I have the answer to that one. I would be a Ford Fusion.
Really?
I would. And the reason being is because it's classy,
Mm.
it's a little sporty looking, it's very reliable. I had one. And that Ford Fusion and me, we were very joined at the hip.
Well, that is beautiful. If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be?
Um, a mixer, because I think it takes a blend of ingredients to have a winning recipe.
Well, listen to that. You ought to trademark that. That's brilliant. If you had three magical wishes just for anything, it doesn't have to be philosophical, it doesn't have to be about family, but if you could just pull a rabbit out of your hat, three things, what would they be?
I would take better health at the moment. I'm dealing with health issues, so I'd take better health.
We're going to claim a healing right here on the edge for you.
That would be my number one. My number two would be I would want more abundance so I could serve more. I would love to share the wealth. And to me, that makes me sad when we see that there is some wealth out there. And number one, either someone's not sharing it, or number two, people don't know how to access. And we could talk a little bit too about these grants out there. I'd like to give you a statistic that I learned just a few months ago, because when I started writing business plans on LinkedIn, I started advertising that. I started to attract clients that wanted a business plan for a grant. They had a grant writer, they needed a business plan, and it was stressing them out because they didn't know how to write a business plan. And then I come up with this 3-week format. 3 weeks I could give them a business plan. But what I discovered aside from that is that there's over 900 grants available in the US and hundreds in Canada.
Right, so, but it's the verbiage. And what people don't understand too with grants, and this is just from my personal experience, is that you have responsibilities. You have a responsibility to the grantor. You're going to have to, excuse me, you're going to have to go back and tell them where that money was spent.
That's right.
So there's checks and balances there. They're going to make sure that you have integrity. They're not just going to give you a wad of cash and say, here, go do what you want to do. And then if you're in a nonprofit, I'm just kind of picking on them right now. Mm-hmm. You're responsible to the donors. You're responsible to the board. You're responsible to the client. You're responsible. So it's not, a walk in the park. You have to be serious about this. So it's great to be on the other side of that, to have that skill to be able to write the grants. But it's a different mindset, and it's a different skill set when you have to go out as an independent and have never done that before. So you really need the expertise of Kathi. But you didn't give me your other two wishes, Kathi. What were those?
Oh, my other wish, one of my other wishes would be to take a world cruise with my husband. Oh, if I could do that, I would love that.
Well, put it on your vision board. Anything is possible. I started partnering with the cruise lines, and so now I'm their kind of their travel blogger in a way. They sent me to Italy. They sent me to Alaska. They're sending us to Thailand. So I am really excited. That's a great way to get a little side hustle. What would you tell a 25-year-old Kathi?
I would say stay open to learning. Do not close your mind, because when you stay open to learning, other doors open before you, and they lead you on different journeys or different pieces of your journey.
So be open to explore. You're going to fall and bump your head. We all do. But what don't kill you only makes you stronger. Yeah. So continue in that same vein, but at least try to create a vision, because it was so hard for me when I was 16, 17, this magical number 18, you're supposed to be an adult. Well, newsflash, they're not. They're staying at home because of the economic situation here in the United States until they are 25, 26, and 27.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they're, paying astronomical amounts for the cost of living. But millennials want something different.
Yeah.
They don't care about the big house. They want to work from mobily from a small, device. They want a tiny home. They don't want this big acreage and all the yard and all the. They
Yeah.
just don't want to do that. They want to be free, like you and your husband on that cruise ship. So you have been a wealth of information. Thank you so much, Kathi, for being here on the edge. Please tell my brains how to get with you, how to work with you, and you had a program and I think an offering. Please share that with them. And then
Thank you,
we'll
April. Yes. Sorry, am I able to share? Yes, my
absolutely.
community. Oh, I want to. This is a blooming in my heart, within my soul, is that I am on a mission to build a community of 100 heart-centered entrepreneurs who love to serve, share, and learn. After the door closes, there'll be a waiting list. But please don't wait for that, because the bonus is we help each other. We meet once a month for 90 minutes. I bring in a guest speaker every month. And April is our guest speaker for October. So this is beautiful. I love it. And I would just like to say this all comes to you with 4 master workshops a year, all for the price of $17 a month. So I make this very affordable. And anybody can reach me. They can find me, April. I'll put a link in for you after we finish. And anybody can find me under my name, Kathi Wehage, on LinkedIn, Facebook. My website is businessplansinaction.com. And I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn too, under Business Plans in Action. So this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much, April.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to joining you in your community in the month of October. I hope I can lend some great valuable information to them and kind of keep them on their toes. But in the meantime, in between time, right in your face, right here on the edge. Thank you so much, Kathi Wehage. I think that you are the best. You're very sensible. You're very logical. You got a lot of experience. And I just love your passion and your desire to help others. Brains, I need you to go in, like, love, and subscribe. You know how we do it. Like, love, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, to LinkedIn, to Twitter, to Instagram, Facebook. We're all over the planet to give it to you, what you need. Thank you so much, Kathi. You're the best. Bye, Brains.